Now, in English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in Buddha, I take refuge in Dharma, I take refuge in Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain state Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and anger. Surrounded, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surrounded by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all Buddha beings enjoy this Buddha. Idam Guru Ananda Ameyadaya.
Yan samatra stilisira. Dero rabuchi pake pen satang niti parula.
Good morning and Dashtilik to all of you. Today, Venerable Minya Rinpoche had to attend a special ceremony in New Jersey. So that's why today Geshe leading Sunday Buddhist class.
그냥 아주 남지다 그런 거 논다 나름 모르는 데 가도 남지 논다 그러는 게 대랑 때 기본 저도 진짜 경고 되나 뜻은 대시 맞긴 봐요. 된대시 때 잡다는 그 정도 칸에 돈 정도 선라 곰즈니 삼즈니 그래서 당부 칸에 특교랑 돈도 선는 샤라지니 디샤라나 샤르지 생구는 곰리고 대화이나 아니 소소고 싸우 증거는 되는데로 곰이나 곰점나 티스 곰섬즈니 곰점니 뒤돈도 자정 셜곰즈니 셜곰즈니 당보고 남는 거는 거니 교령 없어 뒤 돈도 자정스파 삼로 당 타와이나 셜곰색으로 된다 티스 곰섬 정말 좋고 그러지.
So today, I thought it would be good to choose the topic Lamrim prayer, aspirations. The page number 80, the aspirations, the path of the enlightenment, and I thought this topic will be good because we often chant this Lamrim prayer, and which is very good for practice of the listening, contemplation, as well as the meditations. We have saying that as you express or as you chant virtues, words, and simultaneously you contemplate on the meaning of the essence of the meaning of this words or phrase. So that's what I thought it will be very good to discuss a little bit about this. So maybe later on, whenever we chant in a gather group or individual, as you chant, so you can kind of contemplate on those meaning, and visually or mentally, you can kind of meditate on those meaning.
다른 런 밥이 손이 카드리 영화 공시 써봐대 너무 마르기도 온로와근 남들제 용보다가 지으전이다 지덕니 치고 그런 거 몸 가르쳐 버는 도매던 공부했던 총종리의 법종지 법률지 법률터선 될라 법률지 디와 삼바지 공부지 담아 때문에 냠동 도바 자정 연락지네 네 남은 동거 응아름새도 보도 좀 있었어요. 점니 갈리쇼 yap지네 개인자당 예측된 받지네 된게 칠그림이 겐텐지네 타마도 그런 것다 남는 치모서니까 된 공부 시작다 바로 된자다 공부한데 너네랑도 밥이 촌이지 저는 너네랑도 말이죠 그런 거 단위 정도 배 오만에서 갈리 잡지네 촌이 있어야 돼 이시 소도 손이 초색으로 이시 소세도 발신 찍는 망조 셰르기 바로 드시 마치고 손음지 소세도 발신 지정 다 삼등지 초들라 손이 차요서 셰르기 쇼동 이시 소동 손음지 손이가 용거 돼서 안에 손이 썩도기 각걸이 잡이 손이 썩도기 손이 썩도기 개왔다 모아지고 와도 그래서 카드를 영화 강식 썩바이지 고깔이 잡네 된리가 아니 남기형 남그 갔던 받던 그 강상 요와도 담지 가르게 챘더지는지나 로 머리바 머리비 온도 송이 마시위 아니 람 동바 로비 람란 로den 강상 때딱 근기 챘더다니 때딱 담지 람 양답비 람라든 남든 예외 공부도 주지 남든 남번 렘바전 상지 아니 상지 예외 공부 공부 토비 챘더니 담 받주지니 저와인 도도로 듣으시죠.
이시초도 수능 초 그런 게
이시소도 손이 있어야 될 것 같거나. 밥이 손이 오대도 이시소도 손이 있어. 이시소세도 소네. 셰르비치 차들. 동배시 돈던 대비 차들. 손음지 소세도 권주 대비 차들.
So first phrase or the stanza, and actually this this Lamrim is composed by the master Lama Tsongkhapa Jirumbuche, and historically, as you know, that at a very young age he went through the intense study, the study of listening, contemplations, as well as the meditations. And eventually, he gained such a profound realizations, and as well as they have a great experience of the practice or the Buddha's teachings. And eventually, he composed the what we call the Ngakrim, the path of the tantric treatise, 18 books he composed. And not only that, he during that time he took the 808 master in different schools, and eventually he established the what we call the Gadin monastery in Tibet. And so the in this first phrase, he talked about the to accumulating or amassing the accumulations of the wisdom, accumulations of the merit. So accumulations of the wisdom is to basically talk about the it is the wisdom side, as well as talk about the six perfections, and as well as these talk about the ultimate truth, shunyata, emptiness. And also the second the accumulation is the accumulations of the merit, which is talk about the conventional truth. And so the reasons he accumulate these two truths, two accumulations, because of the sack of all sentient beings who are doomed by the ignorance. May I be able to liberate those ignorant one by amassing the two accumulations. And so here, when we read this, we understand the phrase by the knowledge and wisdom, vast and space, gained with effort our time, may I become the Buddha for those whose minds are blinded by ignorance.
다 니와데네 데네랑 데마 데마순비 체럽근데요 자병 지위지 종데 담비른 박근성 남진 초 니네 드빈자 남예 시송 우즈데 데네 데 가르서 데 마순비즈네 성지기 공포마투비 파트세워 체럽근데 겨와니 겨와 체럽 탐ចិត្ត 지진자병 그 지스종네 제덕니 좀 코로나 지진자병에 시제즈네 조화들린 그때 농구용으로 지스종네 가르치고는 지스종네 다 지진자병 지스종네 가르치는 담비른 바지 성지기 담바니 당부터 뭐 남종네 종대네 즉 농 남지른 바 성지른 바 용종바들 남가슴 종와서 저거 탐제네 근청 담비른 바 근청 남지 넬진 남지 초진네 디농네 뭐 근청 왔던 남지 초도 결과니 점령지 성지 선동 돈이 또 비셔를 소바도 탐제 저마지는 하고니 년이 드비 연음예 시쇼스 더 소소들라테네 년년서데 냠바치니 들타 뇨르치네네 콤리치네 릅세들 칼리갑치네 네 연음 뇨르쇼스 뜨치네네 상지 탐지 특이용 같은 소소가 샘제데 점령지 성지 선동 돈이 또 비셔를 공제 쇼지 센터를 시키다
And the second verse, it's here mainly talk about the phrase of aspirations, or the making wish that the light of the life, may I be close to the teachings or the spiritual master, as well as the Buddha, where I can able to generate the profound the meaning of the teachings, such as emptiness, as well as the generating the bodhicitta. And here he phrased to Manjushri, and it is important sometimes we add the Manjushri in our prayer, And historically, Master Tsongkhapa always have visualizations or kind of in-person encounter with the Manjushri, and whenever he had a doubt or questions, he will have this the appointment with the Manjushri, and where he received all the essence teaching and purify all his doubt and answers his questions, and and similar at the very beginning. The master who had a great opportunity at that time, he also still the practice of the studying, contemplations, and visualizations and so forth, and in order to generate the bodhicitta and understanding the emptiness, and always may I able to be close toward the spiritual master as well as the Buddhas. Now, and so let's read here. Manjushri, may your compassionate wisdom guide my lives along the path and lead me to the Dharma, that my practice may please the Buddhas.
런기 지전 도비 람기 늘 시적 세위 정의 탐귀기 루이기 몽바 사시니 여기 담바랑 진지지세 근데 가서는 런기 지전 도비 람기 늘 지르모시 런이 그 시는 에네 하고송 소수 또는 소수 당부 티와지 당부 삼바지 삼비 돈데 웜지 용화 톱지네 하고 하들라 다 똑스네 도비 람기 난것도 담지네 샘근의 시적 제와체 보고 시 근일랑네 아니 탑키오 전에 드잘라네 로이 기만 바사시네 때네 샘진 탐지기 기기네 마시비만 봐도 용수가 사네 예위 담바 저 세용수 미 탐지기 될지 내리고마데 데키 동건데 성지 담바 고마다 하고 용수 될라더니 지슨 지근네 망아 용고 때는 때 담바도 여랑도 네 탑거래서 그렇다 여랑도 내가 쇼식이네 또 대응 와서 그런 거
And third, uh, to understand the essence, the practice, the meaning of the practice, and by the practice of studying, contemplations, visualization, as well as the meditations, and then one could gain the higher or profound realizations. When we talk about the realizations, not something that we have some sort of a realization, but rather, the the decades of the practice of the studying contemplations, once they have a deep understanding, so that is we call the realizations, and once that they have that realizations, and with the pure motivations, as well as the great compassions, and with the tool, with the skillful, and in order to share this knowledge, or the let other to understand that knowledge, and in a way it will we can say it will we can say that the Buddha teaching will remain the eons, otherwise not.
진짜다 디고고다 지동니 처럼 거네 소소 밀라 팔합치발라 당보 소소 하고 거래지 하고 싶어 당보 티와동 삼바 곰바진 탐 수솔은 용화 토웨나 하고 다 도송 또나 때네 잠발라 소소가 천년 당동 당 된데 쳇다 많이 봐 시적 세위 끝내랑네 형지 첨보 끝내랑네 아니 탑키오 대응 파쇼크 감동 미와라 때네 탑키오 지네 치셰 셰네 돈도 가려고서 루이 기만 바사시네 로아 탐지는 마르비 남라 참도 또 마시위 만바데 무롱완로 통모토도 파사워시네 또 사워지나 가려고서 다 상지 좀 된데 그 연된데 간다 있는 티스무 것은 동동 도배 담치도 정말 하고 용도 미청마 선정 정신 좋아지는 될라더니 담바이랑도 니트고를 뜨인다 아니 치했다나 단디다도 시적 그 스위근이랑네 소소 삼바 남덕진이 탑 키우진이 때고래 때 송효르지.
And here, really, it's a gift. It shows us the skillful means, as well as the having a great compassions, have a great kindness, and once we have a great knowledge and the realizations, and it is important to share this knowledge to others, with equipped with the great skillfulness as well as the kindness as well as the compassionate heart or compassionate mind, and uh, when I say the skillful means meaning to have a great method, the to see the conditions of the audience, not forcing, and so forth, and and again, when we do that, make sure we are not full or being caused by the negative mind, such as seeking for reputations, name, or wealth, and so forth. So that is not good. So that is a sign of declining the Buddha teaching. So we wouldn't remain, and eventually it will kind of such a mess. So rather we seek such path that once first of all we make sure we have a great realizations through the practice of studying, the numbers of studying, contemplation, and so forth, and then share this knowledge to others. So when we share this knowledge to others, make sure we don't have a bad motivations, but rather have a good motivations with the pure the kindness and compassions, as well as the have a great method, and share this the knowledge to others for sake of all sentient beings who are being controlled or being doomed by ignorance. And for example, if a blind person cannot walk or cannot do anything, we try to help them similar like this and help them. And then eventually those whoever learn, and then they will also have a great joys, appreciations by understanding the meaning of the Buddha teachings.
슬로도.
And here is third one is empowered by the truth of these teachings with compassion and skillful means. May I dispel ignorance from the minds of all beings and hold the Dharma with constancy and devotions for many eons.
지와데 담바른 신축도 마치버 차종냠버 주 쇼델들나 형지 전부 야루 줘봐 반대티 사워시버 쇼고즈니 근데 가르즈는다 어쨌든 언니 성지기 치교니 하먹고사 하고 만용사들이나 어 된다 아니 영 하고에는 하고네요 근데 냠척송네 근데 영 살수고 사자 된들라 존에 네 된들 송네 형지 전부 야루 줘봐 된들라 송네 저런 치트 백기나 간르치고 청고르즈나 당보 저런 형지 근일랑 로고르지 형지 근일랑즈나 파쇼티기 마시위 등을 때 탐실 세기인 사베 삼루트 토마키고르지 데이터 냠때네 야르고 줘봐고르지 저런 거니 更 링을 쓴거 줘봤더베 sedang 탐바 오늘 반씀 근일랑 샤바랑 레와 탐좀 고트 받던데 지진이 로이나 던지진이 반디 때때지 잠발라 판 토바당 판 토지 semdang dekil lila dewatang semla dekitang lisumnya dewater tingil terbi ni te lisumnya dewater kan kanji jongurjan sour shaper shoze sour shape te karjang azu marik piang mashi yong ga ni lila na cha jonga ter soso gu choten da ten ma shi yong che samla tingli yong te soso nang thomong go ke yong ten chi ni dingal zo ten ni soso ma ji ma kyo ji soso ma kyo ti yong dingal ti yong 셰덩지 띠용거 저런 탐질 라스 근데 미 정말 라창고 근데 용다 뭔가 좀 정말 안에 지동 막 자원으로 어떻게 손나 대손나 뭐 쉬운 거 정도 말이 비용 건 다들 좀 너무 띠용거 좀더 뜻함지네 판바동 데비치 때서 사월시 주고 지금도 몸 되게 말지
And the second verse is talk about the so sometimes we we kind of experience or arrive situations or the place where the Buddha teaching has been declined, or maybe uh, where nobody knows about the teaching of the Buddha. So once we come that kind of place, and of course we have a great interest of the sharing the Buddha teachings, and um, the whenever we do that, first of all, we important is again to constantly make sure we have a good motivations, such as having a good great compassions and the wisdom and so forth. When we talk about the compassions, what is here really mean by compassion here is that the key is the when we do that, make sure that we have the mind of may they be free from suffering. So that kind of compassion, may they be, by knowing this knowledge, wisdom, and so forth, may they be alleviated from the suffering. Or that kind of compassions we need. And um, the uh, Yeah, and the second is the to have a good conduct or behavior, good conduct and behavior. And for example, the conduct and the activities or behavior of the individual who preaching or giving teaching or lecture is very important, because sometimes we see what they say, what they're doing are totally different. They say something, but reality they do it totally different. So that's not good for the practice, for the teaching, and for the follower. So make sure whatever we say, they are accord with our activities and the teaching. So that's the second one, and and where we can bring the happiness for the body, happiness for the mind, and so forth. For example, I will do that. There are so much suffering, suffering of the body. Of course, the body because of due to the lack of health. There's a suffering of the body, and then mental suffering because of the misconceptions or negativity and destructive mind and so forth. And when we are being dominated by those mind, then we have a suffering. When we have a suffering, we have a hatred. When we have a hatred, then of course we will put those actions, and eventually we will have a more enemy, outer and inner. And so all of this being created by ignorance. So our key is to purify the ignorance. And the second verse is may the precious dharma spread where it is needed and flourish where it exists. That by my effort, this treasure of happiness and aid can sustain all beings.
오야, 다 시지야의 마숑 틀리리 라드브숑즈 남제른 비경 탄도 남지 일라 화트성 여인자 바랑도 종지르치우세 오단드 야와 세당지와 야와 세 선점된 데서 거스 세제 띵코르드 제비숑즈 셈바 마숑 틀리리 되게 성지당 성지의 길을 저 바 선즈 셈바다 버르다 마르바니 종용조 아니 천리 세트 딘자바 천리 샤리 나오 디 니와라 테니 종아들 천리 속으로 들리 강 종아르잖아 다 남기름 봐 성지 남기름 봐데 동 저동 남기름 봐서 냠는 그런 봐들 냠는 그런 봐 저동 아주 쇼드로지 조자다셔 람름섬니 텔라 테니 지더니 침보베 다 람른 최종망보 요르 람른 맞섬 요르는 람른 최모다베 야치 쇼지 되자다 락드브즈 락버드바드 가르 종아르자 성질 남기름 봐 상치 봐데 르바 상와당 개와 콘스치 버시비 남기름 봐데 강즈나 탄도 남기 일라 화트 상세보다 남는 첨보데 이 로용을 수도 탈와당 탐지 첨바 공통 논근도 셈라 아니 가와트 그레스 고 강즈 코테 돈든 열거 요자 디능나데 셰조자 코테 가와요나 데라 근데 돈이 용그레 돈이 마존나 돈이 뱅크 데라 먹스 될 로요 마르티나 돈이 용근도 졸라 가와트 그레스 디 가와트나 여인자 바이랑도 종들지 디 가와 쪼발라테니 타루 타완도 그때 남다 그때라 영 맞더니 티스모 남른 쳔몰라 티스모 권숨 지용으로서 델라테니 소소질라 도바질라 지용으로서 성지 담바에 영웅된데 답거리 딱그 성지 담바 영웅네 뭐 일된 남른 쳔모 좀비 뭐일 된다지긴 송거다.
And the next verse, the purpose of the composing this teaching is merely the individual who have a great interest in the teaching as well as the liberations, and who have a great interest liberating themselves from the suffering or the samsara, and then it will be great. Benefits, giving or showing that path, because they have a great joyfulness or joys toward the practice, and they will definitely see the great fruitions in their path. And otherwise, if someone doesn't have an interest, and this is not for them, and and if someone has great interest by putting all the practice, such as studying contemplations and visualization as well as the meditations, they will receive the great benefits, great benefits. And the here the Master Tsongkhapa's the from the very beginning, like for like Buddha and his the followers or the spiritual masters, and from the very beginning and then till now, we see all the great teachings, the path of the great teachings, such as we call the Lamrim, and the Lamrim three, the Lamrims by the Master Tsongkhapa. So one of the greatest the Lamrim is the Lamrim Chenmo, the great Lamrim, and from the very they have many teachings on the Lamrims. One is by Atisha and also by the Master Tsongkhapa. So this all the Lamrim is the aim is the composing this the people who have interest in order to they free from samsara or and have a great the knowledge. And here it says the verse, may the desires of those who seek liberation be granted, and may the inspiring deeds of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, as expressed in the sutras, forever unveil the road to enlightenment.
뭐야 다들 고마데 람성 드비 팅킨 드시 장세 가이킨 세시 메동마멘근 서럽근데 야위가 바이 남당남당 데로 마치지 단데 뭐놈 가리고자 알아서네 제동 샤와 강당강전 강당강전다 장보 샤와 지지요나 데라 워치던 게 용거 됐다 남성 드비 팅킨 드시 장지다 그런 거네 배나 도종직이나 델라 티슴 티워지발라 당보는 게 호지라고 요래 대 호지랑네 델라 테네 소스 티와지 테네 델라 테네 소소가 땡긴 창고하던 리데오 용하던 안에 자진 참아 창하던 고 창고 연서다 땡긴 접시장지 때리 땡긴 참아지 네 시 땡긴 난거 땡긴 이요 시 땡긴도 가르즈나 기위신년 당 안에 겐당 소소 코리기 당 소소 그지 세송라스보다 사기때 자동 신팅결이 능그 땡긴데 소소 선비당네 선비 근리랑네 엔데텔라 좋아요 왔다 장도요와 텔라테네 탐치텐 타라당 탐치 챔비 공통 톤도 비네 끌롱 근리랑 왔던지기나 다 땡긴 창고 뜻 정말 창아이나 창창 뜻 창고래지 뜻 창고는 개긴 세시 못당만 근세 다 파르치 진근은 못당만 마인 바던데 파르치 진기 용고스 되나 this 셀진 같은 세신데 되게 parchi들 마용 와지네 신앙 그 parchi가 마용 올지네 새롭건데 야윙을 봐야 어다 체인도 동 개와시 맞지 심심한 거 어떻게 그냥 때 탐지 때는 리정보 다 지금 개발해서 대 파마 정보 들었잖아 고치려고 튕긴 거 파마용 그 삼로 뭐 그때는 같은 거 대전 같은 데를 마용 와네 남도람동 레월 맞지 새롭건데 야윙을 봐야지 새롭건데 성지기 송송도 남들은 지금이 남도 남은 당 레어 맞지. 데 남 성지기 송르즈는 지정 영어 말 때나 가시기 록시들이 시기도 성지기 송어만 많이 맞지. 때들 이제 된데 많이 봐. 영답이 남라. 우리 내일 기와 된데 소 때들 지금 속지 세트. 다 레어 타면 레어.
And the next verse, it talk about uh, the whenever we practice, we dedicate and the prayer that basically aiming to free from all the hindrances and all the outcome, inner and outer obstacles. So there are there are many obstacles, and whenever we engage such path, try to amassing the all the merits or the generating great deeds or practice and so forth. They have a lot of obstacles, inner and outer. and this praise basically for this make sure we make aspirations as well as wish that may I and not only this life in life after life may I able to free from those obstacles. And so there are so many obstacles. First of all, of course, make sure that whenever we engage such practice, may I free from the obstacles by receiving the good spiritual masters, and as well as the may I able to free from my inner obstacle as well. Sometimes because of due to the negativities and negative motivations, and we may have a bad interest by studying these teachings, and make sure I'm free from those obstacles. That is the one thing, and also. When you talk about if you believe in the next life, so of course, when we reborn again, make sure I reborn in the spiritual and very positive family, the mother or father who are also have a great knowledge, great open-minded, and have a great the mind of wisdom and knowledge, and have a great interest. So in that way, I kind of arrive or born in that kind of environment, and then I will definitely receive a good knowledge. Where if I born into such that bad conditions, then I don't won't have that opportunity. So that kind of one also we can aim for that. And also this life or next life, there are a lot of obstacles from the other beings or invisible beings and so forth. And this life and next life, may I also free from those obstacles. And and again, when I say they are free from obstacles from the spiritual master, what it really means here is the sometimes whenever we heard of someone giving a teaching doesn't mean it's giving right teachings, and they might giving a wrong teachings. Maybe teaching itself is wrong, or that they might have a different interest or bad motivations by giving this teaching. So make sure whenever I engage, may I also free from those obstacles as well. And so here it says. May all humans and spirit beings who have conquered adversity and clear obstacles from the path never be parted from the Dharma.
다 공시 탁 빠져라 치주지 수준들라 좀 받대지 더든 남기 딱들 조시죠. 다시 잠도 속긴 잡겨지. 단데 담아들다 강들 강세에는 다 된들라 소소고 샘당니 때는 덤바요와 진도요와 다 된디가 아니 고급 정보주토 탁과첨부 초라 탁과첨부 남라시 샘지 탐지게도 농업을 벌성이 연선비 삼로 된데서 키우나 치주지네 치주된 안에 당보 소소 당보 티와지고 그러지 티위도 쌈버지고 그랬더니 또 곰지고 그러지 곰주도 소소 티위도 삼로나 샤르주 로라파 껴르고르지 껴르지네 껴 조동지더니 밀라 차바 채고르지 근데 어디도 당등인들이 하고 손들이 당들이 자주 썼음진에 근데 아니 근데 군소라 초바지고를 오픈다 좀 받은 거지. 어떤 게 치주세요. 근데 인상성 다 저와도 들로지와 이게 들로지로서 도중지고를 스진들라 좀바데이지 어때 좀 람기름 받다 마누라 진네니 드용조 스진들라 좀바데이 딘딜 텔라 좋아래도 좀바 조지스고 좋아요는 가도 내가 강도 가지 답되고요 된자다 좋아데 존질라 고고 영화라 좋아 존지스 좋아 좋아 디 체나세는 딘디가 치주질라 좋아 펜에 심지 탐지도 공부도 벌성이긴 선비 삼로도 소소 시적 보고 기용을 수도 단 대단함지 따뜻 조시 쇼제 어디 지나다 지금 사송마 지종 송마 때문에 가쇼는 엄버가 왔을 대당다 니와 당다 받다 되는 거 종조지 로지 로지네 아니 다시 잠수 쇼근 점지 다시 잠수자 리데와 동 샘기 바랑진 탐질라 난 담랑 렁렁 년 콜리지는 담랑 용서 발 카버 쇼지 지다 다 담은 원 들지
And next or the last verse here is the it talk about the conducting the 10 dharma activities, 10 dharma activities. And first of all, we make sure we have to have a great interest, and not only that, engaging that practice, and not only that, and also having the mind of the great vehicle or the Mahayana, the path, and and eventually to have a great interest of the attaining the liberations or the attaining the Buddhahood, and how again the practice of the studying, listening, contemplations, and the meditations, and not only that, once we have a great realizations and visually, mentally, we kind of repeat those practice, those the practice, and not only that, we express and. So here is the 10 the dharma activities here. The first is the transcribing the teaching, and then the second is the offering to Buddhas, and the third is the practice of generosity, and the fourth is listening to the teaching, and the fifth is the reading the teaching, and sixth is the comprehending the teaching, and seven is the instructing others, and eight is the reciting the spiritual works, or reciting the books, the spiritual books, and so forth, and the ninth is the contemplations, and 10 is the meditations. And so once we have this, all the practice, so we have to do this, apply this 10 dharma activities, and so definitely we will have a great joys, as well as the whoever you are the working with, they also have a great joys, and when there's a great joys, there's a great the perseverance, and when we have a perseverance, then there's a no nothing that can stop us, that we can definitely able to fulfill our wish and the dream and so forth, and and then finally that will receive or will have a great fortunes and auspiciousness in our path. And when we talk about auspiciousness or the or luck, we talk about the wherever we go, we are surrounded by greatness, as well as the bring the peace to our in our life, as well as in the world. And last here is the verse: may the Bodhisattva always sustain those who persist in the practice of the 10 Mahayana actions. 10 Mahayana actions. So this is the 10 Dharma activities. And may oceans of prosperities flood the land.
오야 다시 좀 조금 잡지 지겠어야 돼. 다 다시 와서 september. 다 좋아들려요. 오케이.
Any questions?
다 지금 나오는 모든 돈 something 거지.
Okay, now you in the future whenever we chant this Lamrim prayer, I mean, so you think that way. Okay.
오케이.
When you talk about negative teachings, are you talking about ones you might hear in a Buddhist temple, or are you talking about worldly teachings?
Kingi da lokshe lai chu lokshe lai ji la dwasa lokshe lai di dikap tu kingi lai di kala tanga zu sangi gi chu lokshe se wori ki chidang zambuli na yang chu lokshe chi dizu la kogo lo si.
저당 단단히 같을때 당 알아서 남양 답아 많이 봐서 특이오나 다들 같이 하더라고 오마네서 홀라네 양을 반주다지 패야 양을 반주다 자나 그때세 대동시고 자나 그때 볼라 패네 고 자나 그때 볼라 패고 어때 그가 아마도 볼라 마찬가지는 로파 마찬가지는 오 탑고 오텔라 뭐저 기도네 디 남시든 쟁 패서 근데 볼라 패는 남시든 패니다 고 마찬가지라 용네다 콜르지니 게시기 용말다 이나 르촌네 마찬가지 요고지네 되네 갖고가 진전에 게듯이 요시더니 마찬가지로 공산도 강로 강스제 되고 탑득히 왕차도 탑도 무조건 요초가 그래와 좀 탑도 무조건 전에 뒤뒤 오는 것도 야 돈지니 남시야 통통서 대자 그 무일대 있죠 이나 코데 볼라오네 여러분들은 딱그 미봉부즈 보고 아마도 저 70개 되는 코디 몽본 로서 때 코디 년그 손도 법을 아마 치감도 싶구나 그래서 근데 미지급에 라욱 같은 거 시기도 라욱 세트 베다 사고는 야기 공수로 맞지 근데 다 미주 고원에 근데 박바시니 근데 매당 존에 근데 산도 그러지 다 베딩을 첨부해 주셔도 미정 오도 다 미정 라욱 같은 거선 의니 되진다 코베 샘교니 아니 딱고 좀 지겨 좀 되네 그런 좀 되게 갈수 없는 저또 남퀴 기라네 나와 갈수 기다와 베 karma 초등 코라지네 로기요다 미주도 통고요 말 천능나무기 나와 그 인샤도 또 나와래 이제 베텔라무기 삼당자샤 다좀 지거든 좀 등가 더더면 또 돈도까지는 야가르 반지당 오늘 치양 신기든 데라 요르다 또 고수 통고요 말지 나 코로도 그게 치 록시 생긴 라우글 셈된 좀 데라네 다 정내 배 기술직이 나오지 그 좀지 양데 강바트 칠로자 하고 그랬더니 야가르 보고 로자와 첨부직배 잔나머티 그런 거만 당고만 그 라마티 용들이 또 고라잡네 되게 롱바티 사자들 내용으로 또 좀더 통했어 좀더 시게 버지 좀더 가지고 그랬을 때 통통 표저 되게 그 실면서 되게 잡았지 아또 같이 자고도 지네다 혼자도 잔나머티 찾아서 또 혼자나머티 상산에다 잔나머티 그 볼라페 벤치실 때는 보고 좀 봐 보이 그 랩지가 좀 요. 섬다 갔다 때 아니 배차몽 못 치지네. 담발라 야친 납친 중앙에 오르지. 어떻게나 로버셔도 됐지네. 라우를 세미 오르지. 정말 라우 등 시에 먹어도 어떤 록셔도 오르지.
So here is basically who are showing the wrong path in general, who is showing the wrong path and the wrong directions or misleading the whatever the path. And let me share a story. And it's happened in Tibet. So there's an Indian master, Janakirti, Indian master, and who have who attended great realizations, and through his how to say third eyes or clairvoyance, he able to see that his mother was born in Tibet. His mother was born in Tibet, and then actually his mother was born as a spider, spider in a spider,
로그 타고
spider, and stuck in the mud stove. You call it mud stove, right? In Tibet, mud stove. Yeah, his mother was stuck in the mud stove in the nomad land. So that master Janakirti, he able to see that, and then he visit. The reason he visit that to sent her mother, liberations or whatever. And so that's the reason he visit there. So when he visit there, he visit as an ordinary person, and doesn't know the language and the culture and anything. And then he intentionally he went that family. That family is nomad, and then he doesn't know anything. And then he just stayed there as a servant or the worker. So he worked there maybe a long time. And the shepherd, he become a shepherd. And anyway, he worked there, tried to gain the trust from the landlord. So in a way, he have some access in the kitchen, so he can move the stove, or repair the stove and those things. But he spent a number of time in order to gain the trust. So anyway, they gained the trust, and they gave him some kind of authority or permission to access in the kitchen. And then he did what he came for, opened that, and there was a spider, and he liberated or whatever he did because of his power. And but anyway, at that time, one time he asked the landlord, like, "Where's all the villager?" And there's all the villager went to receiving a teaching, one of the Tibetan Lama or the master. And then he thought, oh, maybe I should go and see what he's saying. And then he went there, and that Lama or the master was the teaching teaching on the radish. What do you call the white radish?
Parsnip.
Person?
Parsnip.
Parsnip, right? Okay, parsnip. He was talking about the parsnip, like how much suffering, the suffering of that radish, suffering of the radish, people pulling from the ground and peeling, and then cook and eat, and a lot of suffering. The radish has a lot of suffering. And then that master who are listening, he's one of the very well-known teachers. And not only that, all the audience was crying listening this teaching, and deeply fall into what he was saying about the suffering of the radish. And then that master, when he was listening, and he feel very sad about what he was giving teaching. And then he did nothing, but he wrote this phrase, and then he just stick on the wall. And after a couple of days or maybe many days, and one of his disciple was disciple is a Tibetan, right? Yeah, one of his disciple, great translator, and who was passing that village, and he saw this phrase, and he asked, like, who wrote this phrase? And then the landlord said, maybe one of like a very the shepherd, like kind of like shepherd who doesn't know anything. He wrote this. I don't know what is it. Oh, who wrote? I need to see him. And then he found it, and then because when he read this phrase, he knows the who is not an ordinary phrase. And when he found it was his teacher, that Tibetan master teacher. And but anyway, this phrase is something like that. I don't remember exactly. So basically, it says like this. Um, uh, it says like that. People forget about the moon in the sky, but people are astonished by the reflecting of the moon. So meaning, what is that? That who are preaching is reflections of the moon, but not real teacher. But he is the real teacher, which is the moon. But people are forgetting the real moon and astonished by the reflection of the moon. Something like that. The phrase was very beautifully wrote. And but anyway, disciple found his master, and then he received a lot of teachings, and they composed the one book too in Tibet.
Okay, this answer.
Any other questions?
I don't think I appreciate Lama Tsongkhapa as much as I should. it seems like Nagarjuna his ideas about the middle way, it kind of seems like that was the end of it. And then you had Madhyamaka Prasankaka, that was kind of the end of the line. It seems like on the schools of Tibetan philosophy. So you talked about Lama Tsongkhapa. Could you maybe explain a little bit about what his impact on Tibetan Buddhism? I can see that he was a compiler of the Lam Rim, like a teacher, like you said. But can you explain a little more about maybe where Tibetan Buddhism was before Lama Tsongkhapa and what he did to have such an impact? I guess I'm not seeing where systematizing with the Lam Rim. It seems like it was a lot more than that, but I don't see where he brought a new philosophical. He must have brought a new philosophical slant to things or something. But just a little more about why he is so important.
그디 경기다 디 준비시기 디가 신의 고한 딩앞에 가오드 않고 남준이 데 준비시기 앞에 가오유스 엔 가오치고아레스 아니 안디 주고 말하다 디 공부를 기타 데 송타 데 망부시 송치니 지단기 아니 변형다 다초 저와로 되살때 총과바기다 먼저 별나다 덴데 슈진도 라다 계라치 모차다 덴데 니 코로나 기타 직 흉라 왔다 남님라 흉라 덴데 간데 진짜 직직야 로주로직 개침보다 아니 지소로치다 세도 안디 제롱부시 마중원이 별 최대 간데로 예나 덴데로지
어쨌든 지나네 꼭 로기나 당보 셔지도 당보네 당보 볼라네 봉보 복치도 봉보 치리세 봉보 치는 소 어느 여우송대 증거랑라더니 송승감 못 보기 여러분의 숨소트 바이는 소된난 소된 바이는 숨송이랑 때 다토토리 있어야 단 근데 그치 뭐 잔디스 코르치 텐데 데스 볼라 기르고처럼 근데 숨소든 뭐 요트송대 증거랑라더니 다에 요 지금 아주나 엉텅 첨보지 니와 첨보 요지 된데 고칠라 무식 체지봉만 또는 진입에 르반으로 저저 대자 공간에 다 약을 법이 체득이라 있는 인식민이 그래서 또 저동 야nak 삼든 받던데 요사래 요는 치 약을 그 받다가 약을 콩으로 또 약을 용으로 약을 지단 쓰고 약을 그 전체 모습 단다 그때 야스고 쇼라 말다 쇼와소 혼쇼와소 단지시서 혼쇼와소 단지시데 아니 그런 거 곰바기압네 곰바 쇼도 사미세 복 낭비 곰바 토마들이 티소즈라네 치 쳇츠지사 곰역사 가기 그 로타위 대전 각 청구 대전제 곰바스 지저티 지금 kan 지금 도중으로 지다 도저 지금 오르지 도저 지금 때문에 때 지금 오르서 때라 판네 배네 한때다 온보것들 많이 발라서 호텔이 벌치 먹고 중에 남로 요거 맞지 남로 요거 맞게 된 큰지시와 준양서신데 같이 가지네 다 같이 좋아 그때 밤만 삼바와 배 니도 첨부요래 더동리와 첨부요 때는 밤만 삼바던 시다바나 한동안 그랬는데 돈 밤만 종네 던지시네 보고 시종부터 담을 따왔더니 사자망 보스까지 했더니 지니 다 삼이 공부 무슨 소바지네 낭비 옷 예봤더니 예벌세 근데 뒤지고도 트르부터 숨소든 섭길 속었더니 그거는 트라와지는 거 지네는 요랑들 사실 종네 뒤게 배 성기 담바 용수 납지니 매와 차네 뱉던지 전에 강은 뭐 무슨 차이지 또 전에 따때 양제 살 소용 쏟딜라지니 다 지금 파수 소반으로 마용 왔더니 강을 차이지 또 정수 때니 다 타마타마데 보기 야시트 para torchini sorni chini ta yo langdama koran panyo chigtani to ngosula yoni ta to ngosukol halama shangshibotong tanda shangshibotong ne chigtara shangshibotong ta panyo koni ani 조지 아드샤던 시작이니 아니 조지 아드샤가 쳇다니 지금 라마 이시오 그 속쇼송 요 럭거 요 전에 종강존에 종송을 아니 라마 이시오 그다 서크네더니 나와라 손했더니 조지 아드샤던 시 볼라는 조지 아드샤가데 상지했던 바디 양절 닥터지니 다 당당당는데 하수 소바지니 다 람rum세 람지름 바세 서 좀말 다 지네 다 지름 보시고 지네 중원자 지름 보시 로트 장고 지금 중원다 보고 지지 용종 냥마가 이제 사자 용종하게 도종지네 던도 등하던 차선 용수가 지들이네 조지 아저씨 람rum도 싸워지네 람rum 던자르세 된 람rum 세대 던이다 바 자기고자 남지는 봐서는 로튼 그 람바즈 삽단로 그 조르마도 드게때 지름 보시 다 무슨 드가 드네네 우리가 때 다가서 그래서 그런 삼주티야 말 그런 거 냠슨 용 냠는지는 냠는 거를 봤대 또 봤대 봐 샤르도 봐 조인자 무슨 소가 찾다 그래서 뒤질라 안에 다 가든 거 봤대 시작됐는데 가든 거 봤대 가든 바즈네 tani zonte 망te tani 차네 다 지름 보지 지스 지바테 길 봤을 때는 좀 아마 독쳤던 로아 칠리 치기 참아 심지기 고치를 치지 참아 찍 봐요 그래서 다 협주지 당로 만들어 가지고 온 거지. 그래서 너무 좋았어.
So,
This may be longer.
very long story. Kishila gave me a lot of the numbers of the king names, and I read this before. I myself also read and memorized when I was young, but I lose the track in the numbers. But let me go where I can remember. And first of all, the Tibetan, the first religions was the Pombo, Wombo or Pombo religions.
Shamanism.
Shamanist or Pombo, and and later the 35th, King 35th, like Sonzen Kampo, and eventually like King 37, maybe 37, and who was very intelligent, and at that time in our closest country will be China. China at that time they have a great Buddhist master who have a great realization, but the king, the 37 King Chison Duzin was very intelligent. He don't want from that, but rather he want to from the origins. So that's and he invite the master Shiotsu, and and then they build the first the monastery in Tibet, Samye Monastery, and at that time when they build the monastery, they have a four kind of institute or the school. One is a school for special for the translations, and one's for the tantri, and one for philosophy, and so forth. It's for school, but at that time it wasn't going well because of the obstacles. And then the people asked the master Shuatso that please give us some guidance what we should do. And then they said like, oh, we should invite the Guru Rinpoche, the master Guru Rinpoche, Pedma Sambhawa, Guru Rinpoche, Pedma Sambhawa. And Pedma Sambhawa known as a very great magician, the master who were able to subdue all these obstacles and problems. And then they successfully they able to establish the first monastery. And during the 38 or 39 king, actually one of the king was killed by his brother, the king Langdama, who is known as kind of like evil king. and then he burned so many treatises, Buddha's teaching, and then you will see in his story it's been declined for numbers of years, no teachings, and then two of his the evil sons went to
보고
different.
여우 토르스마르다 코지마세라 코지막세라 근데 보고 야 토르지네 그런 분이 들어와서
And then eventually, historically, that the evil king was also assassinated, and then there was no king. If there's no king, everything is what you call in English, like
Free for all.
free law. Yeah,
Free for all.
free law for all. Yeah,
Yes.
something like that. And then his two sons went to different directions, and then the son actually invited the Adisha, Master Adisha. So Adisha came, then slowly we were able to establish the Buddha teaching, Adisha from the India, and then Adisha, who composed the Lamdun, the first Lamdun, Tibetan, English, name of the path or the torch of the path, something like that, and then after 600 years, the Tsongkhapa actually come to his Dininman Jushayura.
어떤 자와드지네 드네다 때 베트라기 오지네 딱 그런 냠는지 또빠이라 기기도 봐 죽은 거 봤던
Yeah.
거지
So and then Master Tsongkhapa composed the 18 composed the 18 books, mainly from the Lamdon from the Adisha. From the Adisha, the Lamrim book, he studied and gained the great realizations, and then he composed those books. And Master Tsongkhapa himself, he also took the different masters and from different school, and he studied and gained the realizations. So when you look in the Tibetan Buddhist school, you will see the different schools, and even though we kind of title or the name different, but the root are same, but their way of teachings are methods and are different, but the root are same.
어때서 딱 아주 치기 가지고 가시게 그 칠근데 이렇게 가 될랐잖아요. 가오면서 칠이 정말 치바래. 저쪽에 하마 보였자 다 망치고 지내면 근데 오늘 칠이 가르치는데 그지세나 치바를 남레고때 치바는 성지고 샤미안지 성지 치바지 정지 로요 말지.
And so sometimes you will see the follower, they will kind of distinguish, like, I'm this follower, I'm that follower of the Tibetan Buddhism, but I don't like this kind of phrase, because when you look at the four schools of the Tibetan, schools of the Tibetan, and all of the commons or the practice are same, and the methods are different. For example, their foundations, the path, and the results are same.
야, 이따다 네 간호치슴도 공부하다 공부도 좀 양마성다 열면서 그런 뭐지지 같이서 조지 교부성대지슴도 간호치슴도 버. 근데 지금 미망고는 그런 거 지키라서네. 근데 같이서 와서 일해서 송정가 뭐 단다 성대지 열어서네 공부를 가는 거 당보들 간지시와 지키라서네. 이스 그런 뭐지는 연대 성대지 성대 공부요지.
And often I meditate on the three great the masters who.
특히 질 이미 성공고요. 영화 그다 좋습 들어봐.
And actually, I meditate on the all these schools master, Nyingma, Kaju, Satya master, and also. Whenever I meditate on these three masters, known as three great masters, Chisum Dusum, the Khenlop Chönsum, the great three masters who brought the teachings in Tibet. One is the Padmasambhava, one is the king Chisum Dusum, and one is the Shiwatsu. Shiwatsu, the Pema Rashida, right? Rashida.
Santa Rakshita.
Santa Rakshita, yeah, Santa Rakshita. And some people meditate, whenever I meditate, I place the Chandrarakshita in the middle and the Padmasambhava on the left, and on the right, the King Trisandesan. I meditate like this. Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to recommend, there's a book, The 14 Dalai Lamas, that starts with the beginning of Tibetan religion, from the Bon religion all the way through to Tsongkhapa, Atisha. It's a lineage. And so it explains it really clearly. It's by Glenn Mullen, and how it affected all the Dalai Lamas. So it's like a complete history. It's called The 14 Dalai Lamas.
Okay.
If you don't have a questions, you can raise your hands. If not, then we'll meditate.
Okay. Chetang azo gom jar so li tang je te pe ka chemro. Chetang chena ta gom khong da tang ro chi yana den da sigor te ma chona. Sibu tang mo chi zo ne nga zo gom chetang gom nama na zo so la gom ri chi kang chena te so nam ji gom ri. Terang azo gom te chetang ne le lao chi ne tap de ho chi ne ten chi gom ko si.
So we have a few minutes left, so we will do meditations. When we meditate, of course, most important is make sure your back is erect, like completely straight. That is most important. Of course, there is different postures, like seven Virukana kind of the postures. But most important, make sure your back is completely straight. That is very important. And so there are different kinds of meditations or the method. But today, we're not going to, going profound meditation, but I would like to introduce like very simple and easy meditations.
당보처럼 리용도 라삼도 스탕 린데 차탕로 지탕 가노도 리기 고는 아마 바르 지나 나도 르파 섬자 특지어스 그때 매나 한번 그라 바자노 모든 게 때네 대용도 삼도 된 거니 깡바 리 탐지 삼당 저 사오 진 저런 리 데르지 그래 좀 사오 진게 터나 때라 때는 가도 짜 일라튼 짜요 짜 가지고 짜니 dentung den zhi ni tong yu za den zhi ni tong yu su de za den zhi ni tong yu wa de la li ta yong zhu la za ge chab de za ge chab gang chab de la de chab de za yong zhu sam de ji dang ta zhang gan da ma shi de li yong zhu la za ge chab yu sam de ji za de gang chab yu wa de la long chab de long ma zu mi song bu za long chab de long dong zhou ge nyam de chab de long dong long ba de zhou liu zhou yin da de la sem chab de 샘 세야 되는 초로와로 샘으로 봐. 샘 초로에 쓴다. 자 아니 가서 리 cap분들이 또 건들 정도 써야 돼. 초로한테 연구 때서 초로에 초로한테 데이터 동영 쓰면 되게 아니 리 강은 샘 강에 받들 초로에 cap돼요. 샘 초로한테 초로와 강에 받들 비다 샘으로 와. 초로 샘으로 샘면서 샘때 직사모통 샘들라 때네 양지 샘 cap송 샘스터 등한 동탄나 삼비 삼로 cap요 고 심지도 등을 일을 비트용 디 노수가를 심지도 대화도 담았더라. 심지도 나와 디 같이 니와한테 심지도 등을 담다니 대화도 담요. 심지 디 전에 선바들 대화도 담비 샘땡이네. 근데 심지 담지 등을 담지 등을 대화도 담았대. 딱 그치긴 심지도 나 성공을 뭐 성기긴 심지 성록다디 상시 샘세고. 상시 샘때 지고면나 어떻게 선체 샘데 고금나더니 리 용도라지 삼나 데키 차위 용도 때듯이 삼노동 대화 잡송 근데 대화도 봐 심지긴 로지니 간다지래 삼노동도 대화 라진지 접어 많이 봐 동바 동비 영리 때는 종을 좀 소소 공비 또 불리는 니와진 선에 근데 뭐 많이나 근데 샘데 동세다 그 용도지 근데 냠버 썼나 그거를 지만 하고 없는 때 똥똥을 양 들리던 다 가르고 거네 용 듣고 그러지.
Okay, so so when we meditate, the simple way to meditate is first of all just reflecting on the what we have all the time, that body. So you try to establish the comfortable and nice kind of positions, the according to your health, and then you kind of observe your body. First, you observe your body, um, and once you observe your body, and you can observe the inside of body, and I don't know it's true that scientifically it says that there are 360 bones, so you can imagine those entire bones, and then you can imagine the whole the nerve, all the nerves. So there are maybe 72,000 nerves, and but even though if we number are not correct, but you can think of entire the body as well as the entire inside skeletons as well as the nerve, and then uh, when you imagine all the nerve, then there's a nerve, there's a wind. You can imagine of the wind. When wherever there's a wind, there's a feeling or there's a mind. And speaking of the mind or feeling, we have a mind or the feeling of the happiness or feeling of the suffering and the neutral. So there are three kinds of feeling, and then eventually, when you come to the point where there's a mind or the feeling, and then you try to expand that mind. What kind of, first of all, what kind of mind I have, and you try your best to bring the positive mind as much as you can, and then convert into the great compassionate mind, and then expand that compassionate mind as much as you can, and um, the and then by relying on that, we received immense pleasures or the calm mind or the happiness. And you can pause there. You can kind of look detail what are the cause for the happiness and so forth. And then as you go further, you can think of the may all sentient beings to have that kind of mind. May all sentient beings that kind of mind or the happiness. And for that, I will take the responsibility and to in order to establish the great happiness and so forth, or eliminating the suffering. So that is known as the mind of the bodhisattva or the bodhicitta, and the you can imagine that may all sentient beings may all sentient beings free from those the feeling of suffering, which is the compassions. Once they separate, depart from the suffering, and then they will have a happiness, and that is a love and the kindness. And you can imagine that as much as you can, and but again, at the end, even though you receive that the immense or tremendous happiness or joy or pleasure or the calm mind, that also feeling is doesn't exist itself, doesn't inherently exist itself.
있으나 대위 켜봤어. 그랬어.
Mhm.
대화도 된 데물 맞을 동.
Yeah. And you imagine that that happiness all over my body and the mind, but the happiness or that pleasure or happiness itself is doesn't exist by itself, and and you can imagine that too. Yeah.
어떤데 내 동사무 요구시나 내 지만 하고나 다들 용도 그랬어.
And that very happiness is also it doesn't exist by itself. It is empty itself, and so this is also very helpful in the future when you practice the generating or visualizing the Buddha or the deities.
뭐야? 달라는 것도 좋아서.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Temple. I will pass this around, and if you could make a donation to support the monks in the monastery, it would be greatly appreciated, or just a prayer or a mantra in the bowl. Thank you.
I will say the dedications on page number 80.
lo me ma re ge no nam de ya ve wang bo da ji de ma so be ze ro gong do ya be yang je ze be je so da be ren ba gong san nan je jo ye ne ro de ya na ye je so rang ye je shen to be rang je xue zha ze wei zhang wei tang ge jie ro wei ye jie mo ba so jie ya wei dan ba yo rong zhe zhe dan ba ren chen qiu ye ma jiu chao jiang yang ber zhi wei qiu de yang jie qian bu yao ro jiu ba and de sa wa shi bu xiu se jie ya wei ma shang zhen la zhe shang qiu lang jie ren bei da du nan jie ye la he de shang ya wen ze ba rang ge zhong zhi lang zang zhe bei ten jian zhu xi ga jian se qie me da me ce re gen de ya wei ma ba nan dang zhe wen ma zhi kan ze dan ba zhong lan zhi zhe ce xian zhe la zong ban de ye te de nan jie da de zhong xi zha xi jiang zong qiu geng qiao zhi jie
Paden Sawe Lama Rinpoche Daso Nyengar Pame Tenshana Kaden Chenpo Gune Jizonde Kasong Teje Ngedra Tzada So Chancho Sencho Rinpoche Marche Bana Jijirje Jewa Nyamba Me Paryang Konde Konda Pever Sho Kangre Rave Kurve Shinkande Aidan Dewa Male Jovene Chanre Zoan Tenzen Yatsoye Shabe Sente Barda Kenjerche Japa Pao Chetar Chenpa Tong Kundu Zombo Peyang Dejente Teta Kunje Jisu Dalo Jang Yewan Deta Tamche Ramdungu Tisma Shabe Yawa Tamche Ji Owa Kanglam Shote Ngabante Daje Kiwi Sawan De Kunjong Sambo Shushi Rabde Ngowarji Ande Jone Damba Darshanji Tanzan Jiwo Tamche Kankang Zang Dechen Kanma Derje Jongwe Sanje Damba Tante Jinjerji Tsara Kende Yawa Zongkawi Tancho Shinyen Ngese Zabinte Yawe Ngabe Nanzan Tenyende Kache Zayang Dobar Majirji. Okay.